Here we go!
Well, the Summer Game Fest was, for a lack of a better word to describe it, interesting. The presentation was odd in some areas, but at least there were some good games being shown off that I'd actually like to try out when I upgrade my consoles. Like the one that was made by the same team that made Until Dawn, I believe was House of Ashes. I'd love to look into playing that, it looks so cool. But other than that, the event raised far more questions than it did answers. But when you're a Sonic fan, you should probably expect that 95% of the time. What's up guys, GamerBlake90 here, proud chief of the Blue Blurs, coming at you with another Sonic news video. At first I didn't think this would be a news video as much as it would be a discussion video, but then some more information came up that we're going to go over later in this video. But for now I want to start off by giving my thoughts on what was seen in the Summer Game Fest, related to Sonic that is. I did make a video about Sonic news potentially popping up at the Summer Game Fest, which as we now know isn't the case, and so I felt obligated to make a follow-up on that subject, so here we are. So before we get to the stuff about Sonic, here's a quick summary of my thoughts on Summer Game Fest. Not an overall perfect presentation, I'll be honest, but again it definitely had some cool moments. There are some games I'm looking forward to trying out, but other part of the presentation felt like they were purely for the sake of filler. Like for example when they announced the formation of Deviation Games, and don't get me wrong, I'm excited to see new teams being formed for the sake of furthering the gaming industry, but like, isn't the opening segment of the Summer Game Fest meant to be dedicated towards world premieres of new games coming out? Why throw an announcement about a new company somewhere in there? Like, it didn't make any sense. If you want to include it in the fest, at the very least that could have gone into a later segment, I guess? But that's not really a complaint that's worth losing sleep over. I just felt the need to point it out. As well, anybody else excited about going to see that new movie this August, Free Guy? A movie that's actually based on being a background character in a video game and not being happy with your part of it? Yo, that's a fascinating concept and I'm looking forward to seeing it in action. And mind you, I'm not too big on movies, well, other than the Sonic movie for obvious reasons, so that should tell you something if a non-Sonic movie catches my eye. And seriously, Jeff, your taste in footwear is impeccable. I was also really happy to hear that the Game Awards is going back to being an in-person event this December. Of course, their virtual presentation was not bad at all. I very much enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the presentation the year before. Can't wait to see what they got up their sleeve for the end of this year. Now, all of that said, I think it's time to address the elephant in the room and pop the question that needed to be asked. What the heck happened? So last weekend, the team behind Summer Game Fest put out a hype reel in anticipation of the event. It contained a montage of clips for games that we could look forward to hearing more about at the event, and among them was Sonic Colors Ultimate. To be more specific, they threw in a clip of the opening cutscene for the game, nothing in the way of gameplay, but the fact that it was there seemed to suggest that we would hear more about Colors Ultimate at best. Whatever new content SEGA was planning to reveal for Sonic, I imagine they would save it for either E3 or another Sonic Central, because it was implied near the end of the first one that we could look forward to more Sonic Central live streams. Better yet, I suspect that SEGA is planning to make these Sonic Central streams our main source of breaking news for the Blue Hedgehog, which would make perfect sense. For as big an icon as Sonic always has been and is becoming still with his recent success, lumping him in with other franchises for announcements like say Nintendo Direct and anything similar to that probably would not be the best way to go. Giving him an event dedicated specifically to Sonic seems logical to me. And given the influx of news we've gotten at Sonic Central, I wasn't expecting anything else to be revealed at Summer Game Fest that wouldn't already have been revealed at Sonic Central. At least up until they put out that trailer. Now technically it wouldn't have been a reveal because the game had just premiered and it was announced it would be coming out this September. But when it popped up in the trailer, I figure maybe SEGA will be there to give us a hands-on demonstration of the game, specifically the new tail save mechanic and the Jade Wisp. But if they were going to do that, it would have to be sometime after the opening segment, which was entirely about world premieres. Sadly, however, this was not meant to be. nothing about Colors Ultimate was remotely said during the Summer Game Fest, so bummer. But no need to give up hope just yet, because we may yet hear more about Sonic Colors Ultimate at E3 this weekend. Shortly after the Summer Game Fest kicked off, the Sonic channels went live on Twitch and YouTube for the first episode of Sonic Official's 5th season. As I understand it, it's an event where the community meets up with the Sonic social media team to share their contributions and talk about all things Sonic. I don't think it's a hub for Sonic related news, as that would be more in line with what the Sonic Central Directs are meant for, so I wouldn't go there for any groundbreaking reveals or anything of the sort. But during the Sonic Official stream, it was actually stated that there may be, emphasis on may be, Sonic Colors Ultimate news at E3. It wasn't exactly said with a lot of conviction, but it was implied nonetheless, so we still have something to look forward to all around. Unless you're expecting to hear more about Sonic Rangers or whatever other new games they've got in the pipelines, in which case you may be setting yourself up to be disappointed. After all, Rangers was given a 2022 release date, and the only bit of it we've seen in Sonic Central was something like an opening cutscene that didn't exactly reveal much, so you may have to shift your expectations around a little bit as a suggestion. But back to Summer Game Fest. I, like many of you no doubt, am wondering the same thing. Why exactly did they include a clip of Colors Ultimate in the hype reel and then proceed to show absolutely nothing about it? I don't understand this whatsoever. It's like being teased about the 7th episode of Star Wars, but when you go to see it in theaters, episode 6 comes up instead. Technically they're still the same franchise, but those are different takes on it all around, and that's kind of the situation that we're in right now. We knew that there would be a preview of the Sonic Symphony at the Summer Game Fest, thanks to Sonic Central, so that much we were expecting. But when we saw a Colors Ultimate clip in the trailer, we figured that there would be more, and yet there was nothing. So, with all due respect, I have to call out the false advertisement here. To be clear, I'm not calling SEGA out on this. I don't believe they had a hand in the making of the trailer at all. That would be more for those running the event in the first place. Having established that, I'm not too happy about the miscommunication here at all. If all that was going to be shown during the Game Fest was the preview of Sonic Symphony, which was pretty epic, and I'm going to talk more about it in just a little bit, they should have included a clip of the symphony itself, not of a game that they're not going to say anything about. Exactly who gave them a pass to do that? Where is the logic in this? Can somebody explain it to me? Because clearly something is flying right over my head. With the reputation that events like Summer Game Fest have amassed for themselves, whenever you include footage from a game in just about anything like a trailer or a hype reel or whatever, you're sending the message that we can expect to hear more about that game at the mainline event itself. So when you do that and then you show nothing about it, can you blame us for being, what's the polite word for this? Confused? Unless you were just using that Colors Ultimate clip to imply the fact that Sonic would be featured at the event, which doesn't make any sense because you know that there are many different games about Sonic. So why not just use a clip of exactly what you're going to show off, like, again, the symphony itself? What is going on here? Generally, I am the type of guy to preach patience and understanding when it comes to this sort of thing, but in this case, nah man, sorry, I cannot give this false advertisement a pass. Some responsibility needs to be taken here. It's not my intention to stir up any negative stigma with this video whatsoever, so please don't take it that way. I am simply giving my honest feedback on how the event was executed. Like I said, it had its good points, and then it had its times where it just straight up didn't exactly resonate with me. And the use of game footage for a game that wasn't going to show up at all was definitely one of those low points. I also feel like I have to apologize to those who'd seen my last video about Sonic and the Summer Game Fest and got their hopes up that we would hear more about him there. In my defense, that trailer I referenced multiple times in the video, that was what I was going by when I made the last video. It was not my intention to mislead anybody whatsoever. Believe me, I feel just as misdirected myself. But at the very least, we do have E3 still coming up, and again, we're apparently going to hear more about Colors Ultimate there, so all is not lost just yet. Aside from that miscommunication, the Summer Game Fest was pretty cool. Its execution could be tightened up better, but it was great, and I look forward to the next one. Now on to the other subject of interest in this video, the Sonic Symphony. Dare I say that I just about lost it when they came on screen and I heard the OST from Sonic Unleashed being performed? I believe they included the pieces from the Spagonia world map, the Rooftop Run stage, and the Dragon Road stage into one seamless composition, and my god, I was having such a nerdgasm listening to that. It was amazing. If that was ever a way to preview an orchestra, that is how you do it, so bravo. It was awesome. And what makes it even better is that Unleashed is among my top 3 favorite Sonic games to play, period. So the fact that they chose this game made it all the better. But at the same time, I'm extremely astonished by this selection, and here's why. At first, my initial line of reasoning for them choosing Unleashed was that the initial soundtrack had already been performed in an orchestrated setting, so it would be a lot easier to adapt it into a more recent event. And there may be a great deal of accuracy to that reasoning still, but the more I thought about it, the more baffled I became. As those familiar with the history of Sonic Unleashed may be aware, the game was met with extremely harsh reviews upon its release, probably harsher than even that of Sonic 2006, which is saying something. I'm sure you're all thinking of a certain polarizing review that was directed towards Unleashed upon its release. I'm not even going to name the company that sent that review. I'll leave it to you all to figure it out for yourselves. Suffice to say, the credibility of that review, along with many others, was debated heavily upon the arrival of Unleashed. Today, fans old and new alike are looking back on those reviews and challenging them head on. I sometimes think to myself that those who reviewed Unleashed had likely never played a Sonic game beforehand. Often whenever I see any complaints being directed towards games for just about any franchise, it often stems from a lack of playtime for the game itself, as the people expect to sweep through the entire game in just one sitting and have a fully informed review about it. And as we all know, that's hardly ever true. For example, let's take 2 people who play basketball. One of them is a complete novice, the other is a veteran with quite a number of years of experience. Whose word would you take at face value when evaluating the pros and cons of basketball? The novice or the veteran? That should be an easy question for you to answer. Anyway, I figured that with the highly skewed reviews Unleashed received when it was released, SEGA would want to keep their distance from the game as much as possible. They've made like a small handful of nods towards it though. The first one was during the Rooftop Run stage in Sonic Generations. The second, and a far more recent nod to Unleashed, was the inclusion of Sonic the Werehog in Sonic Force's Speed Battle, which was announced during the Sonic Central Direct. And the third one that I was completely unaware of until my friend Unleashed pointed it out to me, check out his channel by the way, he makes great content, was that Team Sonic Racing contained a handful of tracks that were based on stages from Unleashed, such as Rooftop Run and Glacierland, the latter of which was modeled after Halaska. It also comes with a remix of the Cool Edge theme, which I cannot wait to listen to. I did get Team Sonic Racing, and I so happened to play through the Rooftop Run stage, but I managed to completely forget about that until Unleashed jogged my memory, so thanks to him. But here's the thing, as was said a bit ago, the first nod towards Unleashed was made by the Rooftop Run stage being in Sonic Generations. That was back in 2011. Since then, SEGA never so much as acknowledged it again until Team Sonic Racing. And then they acknowledged it again with Sonic Force's Speed Battle, and now the Sonic Symphony preview. This so happens to occur at a time when the Sonic fanbase is practically pleading for SEGA to bring Unleashed to modern consoles and PC, as they are now doing with Sonic Colors. In this case though, I can understand them choosing Colors before anything else because it was stuck on the Nintendo Wii for 11 years, and thus its accessibility was severely hindered. It also had great reviews when it came out, so wise business decision on their part. Personally, I'm hoping that if Colors Ultimate does well, it might inspire SEGA to take the next step and give Unleashed that exact same treatment. Maybe even other Sonic games while they're at it. Maybe they could give Sonic 06 another shot and deliver an actually completed product this time, instead of a beta. I'm sure that's very wishful thinking, but hey, none of us thought that Colors would be getting remastered up until the teaser in April, so anything can happen. But the point is, for SEGA to have included the Sonic Unleashed OST in the Symphony, let alone actually shown gameplay during the Symphony preview, At a time when we're all basically begging for them to re-release the game? I don't want to risk looking too much into things and making false assumptions out of them, but I feel like there is some kind of implication here. SEGA knows full well what the community wants. They interact with the fans, they provide VSonic official streams, they've even crafted VSonic Central Directs which are happening now, and they're also in support of the fan game community. You want to try and tell me that SEGA isn't informed on the requests made by their own community? If so, then good luck, but I can guarantee you that you won't convince me of otherwise. I don't believe that a symphony would be the appropriate setting to tease or reveal a game of any kind, so that probably wasn't meant to be a clue of sorts, and yet the timing for this to happen is a little too spot on. And if they didn't know it before, well, the fact that Sonic Unleashed was trending in the United Kingdom almost immediately after the Symphony was previewed should give them more than enough of a hint that we want Sonic Unleashed to have a second chance. Say what you will about the game's blemishes, but Sonic Unleashed truly created something magical, and for its flame to be extinguished so quickly before Colors came out is disheartening. Now to be fair, this could all be one huge coincidence, that's always possible. But seriously, SEGA, of all the soundtracks you choose for the preview of the Symphony, you pick Unleashed at a time when a remaster of the game, along with others, is in extremely high demand now that Colors Ultimate is a thing? You might as well just put a sticker on your head that says, hey, we're thinking of a Sonic Unleashed remaster, how badly do you all want it? Here's some more food for thought in case you haven't had enough of that already. The Sonic Twitter retweeted the preview of the Symphony just as it happened at the Summer Game Fest, with the message saying there's a lot more to look forward to. Then they proceed to list off the schedule when the Symphony will be shown in full. I think they may just be talking about the Symphony itself rather than anything else, but still, I can't help but wonder. Understandably, many of you may find it skeptical that one of my big takeaways from the Sonic Symphony's preview was that SEGA was teasing a remaster of another game, potentially. But one thing many tend to forget is that first and foremost, Sonic is a gaming icon. He finds success as a multimedia icon, but he originated as a video game icon, so it's kinda difficult not to link everything that we see about him to the games. I mean, it's only natural, isn't it? Had SEGA chosen a different game to be featured in the soundtrack samples for the Symphony's preview, then I might not have drawn this conclusion so hastily. But this selection looked almost too deliberate. Couple that with Werehog Sonic coming to Sonic Force's Speed Battle, and the references in Team Sonic Racing, and yeah, I think something's up. I don't know, am I going crazy? Are we all going crazy? Are we? If you think I'm being paranoid, feel free to let me have it in the comments down below. But to be fair, there's a staggering number of remasters coming up. Along with Colors Ultimate, let's not forget that Sonic Origins is on the way as well. Yes, it features a selection of games that have seen quite a number of re-releases over the years, but in this case, it's being given more features and widescreen support. So something tells me they're going the extra mile with this repackaging. Either that or I've got this completely wrong. Now, while I've been entertaining the idea that an Unleashed remaster was potentially teased in the Symphony, let's remember that this is speculation, not a full-on confirmation. As such, I would not want anyone to hound SEGA over something that they did not actually say, even if it does look like they are teasing us intentionally or otherwise. Anyway, let me wrap this video up on a positive note. The Symphony's preview was awesome, and I look forward to seeing it in full on Sonic's birthday. And I'm also looking forward to learning more about Sonic Colors Ultimate at E3. Apparently SEGA will be a part of the PC Gaming Show segment, and that is scheduled for 2:30 p.m. Pacific time this Sunday. So, mark your calendars, people. And that's my thoughts on the Summer Game Fest and the preview of the Sonic Symphony. And now, I turn it over to you guys. What are your thoughts on everything that was discussed here? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you happen to enjoy this video, consider leaving a like, subscribe, and ring that bell so y'all don't miss out on anything. Again, it sucks we didn't hear anything else during the Summer Game Fest other than the Symphony, but fret not, there's still E3 ahead of us. And according to SEGA, we'll be getting more announcements throughout the year, most likely in the form of multiple Sonic Central Directs. So according to them, there's not a second episode being planned right now, which I would expect because they did just announce something, so it might be a while. Anyway guys, have fun, stay safe, and keep playing Sonic games. I will see you all next time. Peace! Blue Blurs for life. Take care.